Today I'm going to do a book review. I know I did one of these before on my video, what do you do in a survival situation, but I'm going to do a little updated one. I have some nice books and I'm going to go into a little more detail. So, first of all, let's start off on the subject of wild edible plants. Well, I have three great books. One of them is by Tom Brown. Now, he's a really experienced survivalist and he's written many books. He's also written a book called Wilderness Survival. I've read that book and I have it, but I lent it to someone, so I don't have it here to show today. But this is his book on wild edible plants. I really like this book, but the whole beginning is really about his philosophy of wild edible plants, how he started, what he thinks about the whole subject, and that's all good and everything, but I'm not a person that's really into that, the whole philosophy of it. So let's get into the good part of the book. It basically arranges all the edible plants in alphabetical order, and then it gives a lot of detail on them. He starts off with a description, personality, food, and then how you can use it for a medicine. Now, the only part I'm really interested in is the food and medicine part, and maybe the description, but the whole personality part is basically a story about him and how he, ate this plant. And I'm not really interested in that either. But, it's a nice thing that I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in, and, this is a nice book to have if you just, if you want a general description of an edible plant. Now, getting a little more specific, I have a Peterson Field Guide on Wild Edible Plants. Now, this is a great book because it's a Peterson Field Guide and it has a lot of detailed drawings. It has, where you can find it and the use, but, it's really general. It doesn't really have much information. The best part's probably the drawings. But what's nice about this is it also has a lookalike to that plant, and, for an example, let's see. Alright, for example, let's say you have an edible plant like wild grapes, alright? They have a nice little reference here that has the lookalikes to that plant that are poisonous. So it gives a description on those and what you should look out for. So let's see. Canada moonseed, and see, the Canada moonseed is a lookalike to the wild grape, but it's poisonous if you eat it. So that's really nice to have. It has colored pictures in the middle of the book, and it's a great reference guide. It doesn't just have the general plants, but it also has mushrooms, fungus at the end. It has cactuses, and it gives you, it's basically everything in North America, which is really nice. Eastern and Central North America, where Tom Brown's Field Guide has basically the whole country, but everything's really general. When I say country, I mean the United States. The third edible plant book I have is The Edible Wild Plants of Pennsylvania and Neighboring States by Richard J. Mediv. This is a really great book because I'm from Pennsylvania and it gets a lot of detail on all the native plants. So, that's really nice to have. It has just the stuff, Pennsylvania and the states around it. It has the description, characteristics, habitat. It gives recipes, which is really nice if you're into eating edible plants. Preparation, precautions, food uses, edible parts, and then remarks, which gives information on the plant. Now, you always want to look up a local book on edible plants. So, if you live in the United Kingdom or something like that, obviously you're not going to probably see books on North American plants. But always look online for local books on edible plants, because it's always going to be a lot nicer than, the general book by someone that doesn't really know much about the subject. So always look into the author too, make sure it's someone that really knows what they're doing, if you've heard of them before, something like that. Alright, next up we're going into the survival aspect. Like I said, I do have Tom Brown's book on Wilderness Survival, but just not with me. That's a really great book. It gives a lot of drawings, lots of details. He's a really experienced survivalist, so I recommend that as one of your #1 choices. Here's a newer book called Survive by Les Stroud. You may have heard of him from his TV show called Survivor Man. He's really experienced too, so this is one book you want to have. I really like it because it has pictures, it has detailed tips, it has basically good tips for any environment you're going to, and any survival aspect. He obviously has a lot of experience, so that's why I get this book. The only thing I don't really like about it is it's, once again, the general idea of survival. But, it's really comprehensive for someone who doesn't know a lot about survival. So, if you don't know that much, this is one of your #1 choices. Now, here's a really big book. It's Camping and Wilderness Survival by Paul Tyrrell. Now, I don't really know who Paul Tyrrell is. I just saw this book at the store one day. But when I looked inside of it, my gosh, it's one of the most detailed books in survival I've ever seen. It has it's 1,088 pages, and that's not counting the 10 pages of notes and everything. But there's so many pictures, and it's almost too much. You know, it's a really heavy book. I mean, it's really heavy, but again, it's really detailed, and this is something that you want if, you know, you're going somewhere and you want really detailed information, and you want to see a lot of pictures. But the thing I don't like about this, besides it being really big and besides it being really detailed, I don't really like the fact that I have no idea who this Paul Tyrrell guy is. I've never seen him in videos. I've never seen any other books. I've never even heard of him. But somehow he wrote this extremely detailed book with many, many pictures, and I don't know, it seems like he should know everything on survival. Why hasn't he published anything else about survival or anything? I mean, there's literally everything in here. Shelters, and snow, and deserts, and fish, and compasses, and navigation, and animals, and plant, everything. I mean, it's really nice that, I do like that it's detailed because, you know, you can get specific information, and I like the pictures because some of them are nice, but some of them it looks like he just got this from, like, I have no idea where he got half these pictures. There's just so many. Anyway, it's a great book though. Check it out. Anyway, last up we got Backwoodsman magazine. Now, this is not a book, it's a magazine. But it's really nice because it has muzzleloading, woods lore, survival, homesteading, history, and Indian lore. And not only that, it has like way more information than just it says on the cover. But, you know, I like it because there's not that many advertisements, and the advertisements that are in there I enjoy reading because, you know, they're all like third-party companies. They're not these huge companies that take 3 pages in advertisements. But what else is nice is all the articles are written by the readers, which I think is really nice. So, you know, I recommend subscribing to Backwoodsman because it just has these nice articles. You know, they're not filled with advertisements or references to stuff. It's just people talking about, you know, they're giving you tips and stuff. I mean, just looking through here, there's stuff on air guns and the art of staying alive, stuff on maple syrup, trapping pigeons. There's sometimes there's reviews on like guns and knives, and you know where like best places to go fishing, discovering Indian paintings. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, and there's a nice little classified section in the back. You know, it's not like advertisements all over it. So I think that's really nice. And then the thing I don't like about it, though, it's bi-monthly. Because I love this magazine so much, I wish it could be monthly. But, you know, that's fine. And the other thing I don't like about it is it's really small. But I'm guessing that's because, you know, it's a lower budget magazine, and, you know, they don't get as many articles as these big time magazines that are really wealthy. But, you know, that's all fine. So, in the long run, I recommend getting a lot of these books. And if you're from other countries, maybe not the Peterson Field Guide or other things that are just in North America. I recommend checking all these books out. Definitely, I recommend going to your local bookstore and checking out Camping and Wilderness Survival by Paul Tyrrell. You'll just be amazed when you flip through this stuff. So, I have a few other books, and maybe I'll do a book review some other time when I get some more survival books, edible plant books, and stuff like that. But for now, thanks for watching. Comments, questions. Thanks for watching.